T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Welcome to the Play It By Ear podcast, the podcast where the topics may vary because, hey, we play it by ear. And now your hosts, Aric Fiscus and Brady Liming.
What, you doing some genie swami sort of thing there? Great show.
Great show.
Okay, quick, very quick.
Here we
Genie
go.
or bewitched? Genie or bewitched?
A genie.
Genie, yeah. Which Darren, the first Darren or the second Darren?
Ironically, they were both dicks.
Yes, they were.
No, I'm not even being
No,
inappropriate.
I know you are.
I
Sergeant
wasn't
and
meaning
York.
anything at all.
Actually, York and Sergeant in that order. But
Yes. Dick
Yeah.
Sargent and Dick York, which can make Sergeant York
there you go.
of
How
World
about
War
that?
One fame. How about that?
How about that?
Wow.
All right. Little TV to start you out
Mhm.
on episode 122 of the Play By Ear podcast. Maxwell, dude, come on. It wasn't me. Is the referees.
Fight the power.
Fight the power. The NFL hates the Bengals. Now, I'm not going to say the referees cheated. I'm going to say that,
I might.
well,
A little bit.
it was nefarious.
It was very nefarious.
Yeah.
It smelt of dead fist.
Yes, it did. All right. Savannah, hello.
Savannah.
Tanya, good evening.
Tanya.
All right.
How's
Once
everybody
again,
doing out there?
Yeah, got some more people out there. If you want to sign in, please sign in. That ties into what we talked about last week, one of our game shows in the bracket that we'll go over later that lost in the first round. What's my line? Please sign in. That was their little deal. Please sign in. Anyway.
Please sign in. Please sign in.
All right. Once again, episode 122, the Play By Ear podcast. If you've never been here before, Brady and I have a topic each that we've never talked about prior to tonight, and we'll exhaust said topic, and then we'll move forward. We go in the order that we are on the screen. Brady goes first. I'll go second. Of course, we know what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish up my game show bracket, but Brady's topic is new.
Tanya, are you watching a Xavier game in person and listening to us, or are you watching the game at home and listening to us?
I was going to say, if you were at the Xavier game in person, that would be outstanding.
And listening to us makes us feel very important.
Yes, it does.
Mr.
Oh.
Heron.
Oh, Jim.
Howdy, partner.
Damn it, Jim.
The dilated crystal won't be holding any further, Jim. I can't keep her together.
Nice, Scotty. All right. Enough of this tomfoolery here.
Oh, just hold on to your hats.
Well, just go on to different tomfoolery. Enough of this tomfoolery.
There will be many Thomas fooleries. Okay, so I guarded my topic like a dog with its bone because Eric's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" It's like, "Well, if I tell you, you'll have too much time to dwell, and I was wanting a more organic, visceral reaction. This is going to be some silliness. We need some silliness in our lives.
Yes, we do.
So I was perusing the interwebs and I came across a Reddit thread. So even reading the topic, this is gonna be fun. If band names were literal, what would be the best or worst concerts to attend?
Nice.
Nice. So I will
Hello,
just
hello,
give
hello,
you
Howard.
howdy. I will just give you an example that started it right off. And fine young cannibals.
Would you actually go to that concert though if they were actually cannibals?
They drive me crazy.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you know what? That's one of those quote quote classic songs, and I'm going to be consistent. I didn't like it when it was out. I just found it. eh, I don't know. There's no reason I shouldn't dig it, but I didn't.
Well,
And that it just yeah.
I didn't care for that song. I'm I'm saying there was one Fine Young Cannibal song I liked a whole lot, and then of course I can't remember the name of it. So I'm gonna look it up. But
Yeah.
no.
So
Go ahead while I look.
oh
This
yeah,
up.
yeah. So like I said, we could vary between once again best or worst on the literal band name. So Megadeth would be apocalyptic. That would not be a good thing.
That wouldn't be good for them though. They'd just be killing their fans off all the time, right?
Yeah. Now they have some written down, but I made a list of my own.
Can't
Now
wait.
to play off the positive side, let's take it the sweet. Hey, you're going to a concert, it's sweet.
Okay, so was it Sweet or The Sweet? Because I've seen both.
I've seen both too. I was hoping that there could be. I actually think most of the references I see to it is the sweet,
Yeah.
but anyway.
By the way, that Fine Young Cannibals song, "Don't Look Back."
Oh yeah. I actually kind of forgotten about that.
Baby, baby, don't look back.
Yeah. That wasn't bad. I just didn't like. I probably what was it be like 16 or 17-year-old me was just in a different musical place.
Right.
And I just, it still doesn't ring real well with me. And I heard it too much. It was playing a lot. Watch your step if you're attending Whitesnake.
Whitesnake?
Whitesnake. It's
no, we got to say why we say it that way.
I don't know if it's ever come up before. I know we went Whitesnake a lot. We have a dear friend that was not being funny, but that's how he said it. He would put the emphasis on the wrong syllable, and it would be Whitesnake.
As if it were a question.
Yeah, like Whitesnake. So anyway, that's legit. Okay. Now this one would just be a painful one. Flaming lips.
Yes.
Not fun.
So, whose lips would be flaming though? Would it be
It doesn't say.
Would it be the audience?
Well, no, it said if it was literal. I'm assuming that the person walking in would have bilabial inferno. They would have flaming lips, or it would not. It would also not be pleasant to watch somebody's lips flame.
Correct.
So on tour this summer, I just saw this a couple days ago. Now there is somebody's unhappy.
I was like, what in the world's going on?
Bruno the dog is not happy. But anyway,
what in the tarnation?
I'll say what is that? But anyway, Cattle Decapitation is going to be doing a summer tour with Dark Funeral. But Cattle Decapitation
are
would
these
be one I avoid.
Are these actual bands?
Oh, yeah. Yes. They are famous in the death metal circuit.
Cattle Decapitation.
Yes.
Why?
Because they want said cattle's heads removed from their bodies. No, actually, I think what it's going at, whenever you hear of cattle decapitations, it's usually something alien, like extraterrestrials.
Right.
So they're
right.
being spooky and extreme. They're cattle decapitation, which
Gotcha.
basically sounds like the Cookie Monster caterwauling over overly loud drums and fuzz. So, there is one that could be disturbing, especially in context with cattle decapitation. That would be going to see the Talking Heads.
Aren't we all talking heads? We're talking heads right now. That's all people can see of us, We're talking.
That is true. But what if
you're experiencing talking heads right now?
Yes, but what if the cattle decapitation opened up for the Talking Heads? Totally different context.
True.
Because after old Bossy got her head lopped off, she would be talking.
So you're saying this, and I got on my YouTube Music, and I'm looking down just my list of things in my library, and I can't find. So, Imagine Dragons.
That's one of the ones on the list. So what happens after you imagine them? It's kind of a short show. Imagine Dragons. All right.
Well,
Goodbye.
Of course, most of these songs in this playlist are songs I played for a trivia show here and there. But so you got the Surfing Bird by the Trashmen. So would you have Rumpke guys up there on stage? Is that what you?
Hey, it happens. So since you referenced Imagine Dragons, which got me back to the list that I didn't make, kind of a funny one. It said REM would be a snooze fest.
It would be a dream show.
Yes. Rush would only last 5 seconds.
What about the Hooters?
Well, okay. What a band, and I feel bad for them because the uncouth reference the Hooters now refers to, they were named after the instrument, which it kind of looks like a keyboard. It has a double it's a wind instrument,
and it sounds like a
bing bing and it's a cool sounding thing.
Yeah.
But it was called a Hooter and not that kind of Hooter.
Right.
So
Savannah says bare naked ladies.
That would depend on who is attending the concert.
Well, it's a different kind of show.
Yes. Smash Mouth, avoid that one.
Indeed. Well, probably been in some mosh pits was like Smash Mouth, right?
And speaking of mosh pits, we can't talk about Smash Mouth. And there's the other end of the spectrum, the Butthole Surfers.
So is that just a euphemism for someone who's not very nice, or are they actual anuses?
Are they referring to the orifice? Actually, I could be totally wrong. It seems like I've read it was about jerk surfers, because the skaters versus surfers, Southern California culture, they were butthole surfers.
Right.
So they weren't literally surfing buttholes, which would anyway.
Jim says he's in for bare naked ladies.
I mean, Tears for Fears would not be a pleasant concert.
No, especially not the Fears part.
Exactly. Especially if there was 10,000 maniacs there.
There you go.
And, I consider myself somebody that likes to help out other people. So I would be very disturbed because I would want to save her if I went to see Alice in Chains.
Correct. Let me see. Mike and the Mechanics.
Especially if
bunch-
you had a little knocking in your, engine would be a good one. So if something was wrong,
Three Dog Night.
would be a really bad bummer if you were expecting 4 dogs. So that'd be a letdown.
Now you know where
Bio,
that name came from. Three Dog Night.
I do not.
So in Australia,
Oh, here we go.
out on the outback, if it was a 3-dog night, then it was really cold and you needed 3 dogs around you to keep you warm when you
Are you
slept.
being serious?
I'm being very serious. Yes.
I thought it was a substance or alcohol. Is like, howling. It was a 3-dog night. Like 3 people howled at the moon. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Stormtroopers of Death, SOD, definitely would be one to avoid.
Correct.
And in that death metal grindcore kind of genre, let's not forget Napalm Death and Cannibal Corpse. We don't want to mess with those.
Well, it just stands to reason. I never liked that sort of music anyway. So
Yeah, please see Cookie Monster vocals again.
The Babies.
Oh yeah, that would depend, and if you like children. Oh, right. I like Jim's comment.
What about Godsmack? Could be the end of you. Yes.
Unless
Tanya says Disturbed.
Oh yeah. Well, this was not originally on my list, but if there was Godsmack and what was the other one? Godsmack and what led up to Godsmack? Oh, that would be the end of you. Especially if Godsmack opened up for Deicide.
True.
That'd be a bad night for everyone.
38 Special.
Now, are we referring to the gun? Are we talking about 38 privileged people?
Yeah. I would say the band name's talking about the gun, right?
I would say. Let's not forget the Killers.
Correct.
So
if you had a twin bill of the Killers and Megadeth,
ooh,
what would that look like?
it would be Senseless Destruction.
Blue Oyster Cult.
I don't want to see mollusks sing, let alone worship. Well, unless people were worshiping a blue oyster. So that leads to, is it one blue oyster giving orders, or is the people just praying to a blue oyster?
I don't know. Howard says Third Eye Blind.
That could be an interesting one.
So what about that? What is that name? Where's that come from?
How about the whole? I think the karma, the whole where you have your third eye, your spiritual eye. So they're saying that probably like your spiritual eye, like you're blind,
metaphysical third eye.
Yeah. not the literal one. but sorry, I did not. I thought we would probably ought to.
Moving
Anyhow, I like this one. Tame Impala. That'd be cool because you get to pet an impala.
So an impala.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the only thing I've heard an impala is like a car. I mean,
yes, and it's named because it's a fast gazelle. An impala. Yeah,
right. But you never hear about them.
No. Tame Impala is pretty cool. They're kind of trippy and jammy, but they've got some moments. I'm not opposed to Tame Impala.
But I mean, you never actually hear about actual impalas.
That's true.
I mean, you hear about gazelles, like you said, or
Yeah. Or Springboks. The comment that I cannot claim for myself, but one of the posters, um, at least you could get a suit hastily made at the Taylor Swift concert.
nice.
Nice. um, I sorry, I just read Howard's comment. We probably
Yep, Steely Dan.
intense CC. We're gonna
Oh.
leave those alone.
I think 10cc has an old wives' tale.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, what people say that name means is an old wives' tale. That's what I've heard. Metallica. So what would that be? Like a bunch of metal robots up there or something?
Yeah, possibly. That's
Yeah, Tanya mentions Megadeth again. Yeah, but Megadeth, wasn't it DETH? No A.
here's a little trivia that Megadeth was actually a terminology meaning, how many millions of people would die during a nuclear holocaust.
Right.
And that was the original name chosen by Pink Floyd. They were
Really?
going to be Megadeth. Yes.
I would say Megadeth is much more Megadeth than Pink Floyd is.
Yes. Yes. Let's see. One of the other ones, depending on how you like your vegetables, corn. If you had corn and the black eyed peas on the same venue, then you have a veritable plethora of vegetables.
Gearn.
Gearn. Gearn. Speaking of Gearn and that reference, we have an announcement later.
We do.
So, all right. Jimmy Eat World.
Yeah.
Not good.
Start. Oh man. Cherry poppin' daddies.
Oh. Eh.
Eh. Def Leppard. So you have a bunch of
Disabled big cats.
that could be dangerous.
That could be. Especially if they were in the same cage with White Lion.
Right.
No, I don't know if Bill DeHaas still listens in occasionally, but one of his favorite bands, and like if you like Newgrass, they're very talented. It's kind of a punk rock Newgrass kind of thing, but they were called Diarrhea Planet, and they were serious musicians. They said they were just trying to think of the most immature, juvenile, funny name, and that's what they came up with.
Don't you put yourself behind the 8 ball if you choose that as your name.
I mean,
that's a lot to overcome.
That is.
Maybe they just were challenging themselves or something.
I think, but like I said, it's not. I don't hate it. I've listened to like some of the Newgrass genre, and they're entertaining. They're not bad at all. If you could imagine what defines Newgrass, if you could think of a bluegrass sound and musicianship without the Appalachian subject matter,
I think bluegrass is repellent. That's what I think.
Hey, here's a little fact, man. I can spin a lot of different kind of music styles on my guitar. Can't do bluegrass to save my life. I do not have that soul in me. Can't do it. Because most of it requires no pick, and I struggle with that. So,
picking and grinning.
Yeah. I could think of "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" I'm a man of some sorrow. But there is a lot of bluegrass. Seriously, that gosh, it's dark, man.
Yeah,
it can be argued that bluegrass was early American goth.
True.
So, let's not forget Panic at the Disco.
Yes.
Some other ones on my list. The Cramps, never good.
Can't say I've heard of the Cramps. What kind of music do they sing?
Post punk, like they were Southern California. There was like a bunch of like the Cramps, the Germs, the Black Flag, a lot of those like late 70s, early 80s, the Dead Kennedys. That
Right.
same
Yeah.
hard to define exactly.
Yeah.
I like Depeche Mode, but there was a band called KMFDM,
What is
and
a Depeche Mode?
well, the Depeche Mode, I don't know what that is, but KMFDM stood for Kill Mother Crutting Depeche Mode, so they were just called KMFDM, and I never knew what that meant until that, like, obviously they couldn't put that on the headline thing on the marquee, so it just became KMFDM.
All right, so I'm now really intrigued because my search was Depeche Mode meaning in English,
Uh huh.
and I get this return. It says your current safe search setting filters out results that might return adult content. Now
Well, I
I'm
know
truly,
Pesh.
truly, truly intrigued now.
I think and I'm really not. Pesh is the French word for peach. I really think it is. So if you could come up with an answer, oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it-
yeah. You think what I'm thinking now?
oh,
Yeah, you're thinking what I'm thinking now.
were we
Right.
correct?
I don't know. I can't get anything to
Um,
come up in the search.
uh,
Maybe I need to try a different engine.
she said, there was dangerous toys,
Yeah.
the
Let's see.
hives.
We got Brady. You just were frozen right there. You went ha and
Ha!
froze. Locally, we have naked karate girls.
Oh,
A double bill of naked karate girls and five finger death punch, according to Howard.
there we go.
Band Aid.
Oh,
So you have some band aids up on stage. Drowning pool, according to Savannah. Jim, you'd be flirting with disaster if you saw Molly Hackett.
well
Aha,
done, sir.
see what you did there. Bad English.
Bad company.
I hear bad English every day. I probably exercise bad English every day.
Oh, I thought he meant that John Waite was following you around
Well,
until he sees you smile.
ha.
Let's see. I don't know if you heard me say the hives.
Yeah.
That would not tick tick boom. The cranberries, because I don't like cranberries. It was literal.
All right, here we go.
Uh-oh.
Depeche Mode, the real origin of the band's name. Purely a translation from the French for fast fashion.
Well, interesting. Well
So
done.
So Depeche Mode means fashion news or fashion update.
And they were kind of like in the head of the curve, the synth pop. I get
Yeah.
it. I get it.
Depeche Mode is named after the magazine, and that name roughly translates as fashion news. So I guess there's a Depeche Mode magazine in France.
Well,
So there
I
you
wonder how
go.
they got away with that.
I don't know. I wonder why my search engine said that was adult content.
Well, I mean, yeah, because certainly you're not qualified. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Garage.
I almost wonder if she means garbage.
Yeah, that could be.
Shirley
Garbage.
Manson.
Smashing pumpkins. Pumpkins.
Pumpkins. Smashing them pumpkins. Pumpkin smashing good time.
Actually, that'd probably be a good show. Pumpkin smashing.
Yeah. Papa Roach.
You.
Because if you know he was hanging out, the siblings and the wife would be around too.
And the 10 million children.
The chitlins.
Children's.
Baby Roach is suicidal tendencies. That got dark.
Yeah.
Neil Young. Um,
That's just bad music.
yeah. Um,
No offense to anyone who might be a Neil Young fan.
yeah. That's one I never got. Yeah. I still don't. Rock in the Free World, maybe okay.
Okay, what about between Neil Young and Bob Dylan? That's a rough choice.
That is a rough choice. Odious to the ears. I mean, one could argue they have good writing, but they're ponces. I almost think Neil Young is poncier than Bob Dylan.
All right. Neil Young or David Crosby?
I'll take David Crosby because he does have a beautiful voice, and he was in the Birds.
True. Savannah says the Beatles.
The
on
Beatles,
that same note. Tanya says both Bob Dylan and Neil Young.
Oh, she's a fan. Yeah, because the people that love Neil Young really love Neil Young.
Yeah.
But
I don't subscribe to that.
now we could go to the most mediocre show ever, Kansas.
Easy now.
No. If it's literal, it's flat.
Right.
It's got wheat. Wheat. So
wheat and Gairn.
A cream of wheat with hominy Gairn.
Amen, Howard. Between Dylan and Young, I'll take an ice pick to the ears.
And
Truth.
yeah, I know that's an unpopular opinion in many parts, but
so what would a literal extreme concert be? What would that look like?
I guess that would depend on the person.
You know what I think it looks like?
What?
I think it just looks like those guys being up there doing everything, this big, like, hey,
yeah, extreme! Yeah. You see that thing glass? I'm gonna jump over it. Whoa, give me a Mountain Dew. Yeah, brah. That kind of thing.
2.5 hours of that.
Nice. Yeah. That was always our friend Doug's pet peeve. You throw extreme in front of it, that doesn't mean you shout and act like an immature frat boy.
So now people are going to be listening to this on audio and just be like, what the?
They're going to be jumping.
Guys start screaming, what the?
That's going to there's going to be a special episode for if we ever get Patreon subscribers and go that route. We'll have the extreme edition of Play It By Ear. Hey, it's Brady and this is Aric. We're going to be funny. Ha! Nice.
That probably wouldn't be well received.
Aric is going to drive 90 miles an hour down 32, and I'm going to broadcast beside him. Extreme. Brought to you by Sunday. My throat's going to hurt tomorrow. That's how extreme we are. Color me bad. I can just see, like, here comes somebody with this big old horse leg size crayon. What are you doing? I'm coloring you bad.
So now wait a minute. Would that be a particular color, or would that just be bad artistic work with the crayon?
Or in some flamboyant circles, well, color me surprise. Well, they're coloring you bad. Like, I'm not good. I'm bad. So color me bad. And I also can't spell because I made it with 2 Ds.
There you go. Maybe we should do that with band names, a mashup. Grateful Dead or Alive. Like a Wheel of Fortune topic. Category.
Yeah.
Talking about 2 different genres. That is true.
Oh, man. Let's see. What else do I got on my list?
What is a chili whack? What would that look like?
Well, Um,
Well, so here's a good here's a here's a good twin bill. The Blue Man Group and the Indigo Girls.
and neither would be interested in what the other was doing.
That is correct.
Uh, oh, Kansas and Toto, nice.
That is nice. I like both of them.
Much like Asia, I guess it depends on what part you're going to. Are we going to Tokyo or are we going to Laos? You know,
Laos.
Europe.
Europe.
Are we going to, London or Paris, or are we going to Liechtenstein?
Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein was in one of my trivia questions the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So besides Liechtenstein, what other two, or name one of the two European nations that is 80% consumed by the Alps?
Switzerland.
Yes. You know the other one?
Consumed by the Alps. It's not Italy.
Nope.
Would it be Andorra?
Nope.
What's the other one?
Austria.
There we go. I should have known that. I'm a failure.
Howard, Europe to Berlin. Yes.
Ooh.
Correct.
Yes. Very good. So let's see, where are we at in time? Wow, that went longer. I want to do something really silly, just real quick. Let me make sure I haven't left any good ones off the list. I think I hit most of them. I think counting crows would be kind of dull. There's
Definitely.
one.
Or black
There's another.
crows.
If it was dark, it'd be hard to be counting crows if they were black crows.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Flock of seagulls would kind of like conjure up a very Alfred Hitchcock kind of thing. What? What?
Meatloaf.
If you were a vegetarian, it could be disturbing. Or if you didn't like meatloaf. Or if you were Todd, you would prefer crazy meatloaf.
True.
Which would be a totally different kind of show.
Yes.
Why is Meatloaf in a G-string with a banjo? It's crazy Meatloaf.
Crazy. It's crazy.
It's extreme. Crazy Meatloaf. I tried to keep it the Sex Pistols.
Yeah. What does that look like?
I don't know. It's interesting that you bring up Blue Man Group because one would have to investigate why they're blue. Are they from Troublesome Creek? Are they having respiratory problems?
Well, I mean, you know of the blue people from Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just telling my ninth graders about that last week. They didn't believe me. It's like, oh, pox. I said it was literally on the second page of our biology books in that very same Eastern high school.
Yeah.
So
watched a documentary in a college class about it.
There we go. But okay, I've got this is going down a rabbit hole, all right? And then I'm going to turn the topic over to you. But
okay,
I had a student say something so funny last week that I was wheezing. And okay, so somehow something they were talking about. Oh, okay, I know what it was. I was teasing them about this student had a book, and the title of the book was something like "Turtles All the Way Down," And she had this her week, and I said, and I would always ask them, like, well, have they made it down yet? And I was remarking on the cover, and it's like it came up about like those books that's on sale like at Kroger and places like that. They're like Amish romance novels where they I'm where there's like pictures of Amish, there's stories of Amish life.
Okay.
And my
I don't know.
mother used to read those.
I mean, I don't know why I'm so surprised by that. I mean, why wouldn't there be Amish
Well,
romance
I don't
novels?
want to say that it's flat out romance novels like straight up Harlequin, but but it was about the Amish lifestyle. But they always had these pictures of these way too attractive Amish women, and these like you know these ripped and cut. Jebediah is turning butter, and Rebecca sees the glistening sweat of his brow. But anyway, but like after a chance meeting at the quilting bee, their lives will never be the same. But but
Oh,
she said, or the student said something, and it's like, I've seen those books. What on earth would they say? It's like, oh, he saw her ankle. And I busted out laughing uncontrollably. I should not have, but I couldn't help it. It was literally one of the funniest things I heard in a long time off the cuff.
that's ingenious.
It was impressive, and like I said, I was laughing so hard I was embarrassed because like I was uncontrollably guffawing.
And were all the rest of the kids looking at you like, what are you
Well,
laughing at?
luckily, it was like literally 30 seconds before the dismissal bell for the day rang, so it kind of saved me. And I'm like, I'm all right, just go. But yeah,
Yeah, you need to get points for that.
oh yeah, and like but then I
I
got
mean,
to thinking.
when
Go
I
ahead.
taught, if a kid made me laugh, I mean, that's that's passable. I mean, you have to say something pretty bad if you made me laugh. I mean, it would have to be something I couldn't laugh at, that
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can laugh at that. That's funny.
Oh gosh, yeah. And then, like I said, then all I could think about is what these scenes would look like as as he took off his linen cloth shirt because the barn raising on a sultry day was making him sweat. The odor of fresh shoe fly pie wafted through the field as he was sickling down the wheat and separating the chaff.
Is that what they call it?
I don't know. It sounds good to me. It's what I think of. Okay, now I'm stealing this, but in context, it's funny, so I'm making it my own. So
Okay.
then when it gets to the exciting part, there's always got to be like a conflict or something. So there would have to be a part where it go clippity clop bang, duck. They're coming by for a drive-by. And like,
Oh.
oh yeah, sorry.
All right. Howard had a few more comments. Hitchcock would be the birds.
Oh, yes.
Does the Blue Man Group have Blue Oyster Cult?
Good point.
I mean, and are Amish romance novels only read by candlelight?
That
That's a prerequisite, right?
that is a prerequisite.
All right. Do we exhaust that? Is that
Oh, I
exhausted?
think we flogged it completely, but it was enjoyable fluffery.
Sure. Visit our website, www.playitbyearpodcast.com, and you can find out about our show, and you can buy a t-shirt. Click on the store menu or store link at the menu at the top of the page. That will take you to another page where you scroll down to the bottom, click on the picture of the t-shirt, and it will take you to buymeacoffee.com, which is our crowdsourcing website. And you can get the softest t-shirt you ever owned.
It is soft
Soft.
as it caresses me It is a fine T-shirt. Like I said, we've said this before. I'm just not hawking our wares. Like when I got the shirt, I'm like, "Daggone, this is the most comfortable shirt ever."
It's like you wanted to take and go, ooh.
As you purr. Ooh, Eric's getting naughty over there.
Yeah. Jim says Led Zeppelin wouldn't go over well. I'd say Led Zeppelin would not even get up in the air, would it?
Take flight.
Yes, take flight.
Plus,
Very
lead
good.
poisoning these days. It's
Right?
toxic. Much like Freddie
Yes.
Mercury.
Yes. All right. On to me now. So we have part 2.
One moment, Eric. I'm just doing another teaser.
Okay.
Please make sure you hang in for the whole episode because we have an announcement. Continue.
Are you saying people are going to leave?
No, of course
You-
not.
You say it before my topic, as in my topic sucks and people are going to leave.
No. You remember how TV shows were? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. With a big, it's just the teaser.
I got you.
Teaser.
Debbie or the car?
Debbie. Moments
saw that
like
on
these,
TV
dear
the other
audience. Don't even try.
Right. Saw it on TV the other night.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
This is talking about, for those of you who don't know I don't know what you call what we're doing, but the movie Bachelor Party, when the foil tells Tom Hanks, Cole, he goes, "I will give you my new Porsche for your fiance." I don't know, Debbie, the car. Debbie, the car.
And the rest of those guys talk with each other. Hey, which one gets better mileage? Another movie that can
Bring her to me for a tune-up. That's the mechanic guy said.
Another movie could not be remade today.
Oh no.
That would be a negatory, Howard. There is no split second with Tom Kennedy in this particular group. Sorry to say. Good show. I respect Tom Kennedy's hosting abilities. Tom Kennedy had a brother who was also a game show host by the name of Jack Nars. So look at Brady's face.
How do you go from Tom Kennedy to Jack? What is it?
Nars.
Oh, I thought you said Mars, like Jack Mars. Like that's not made up at all. Wait a minute. How could there be a Kennedy and a Nars?
I don't know.
And they're fraternal? Stage name, I'm sure.
No,
Why
they're
would
not.
you choose
They're
Nars?
not twins. They're brothers. I think Nars was their actual name. I think Tom Kennedy's name was the one that was the stage name.
Well, I mean, you never know because like Engelbert Humperdinck wasn't his real name. He chose that. I rest my case.
Well, I mean, it does set you out from the group, doesn't it? So yeah, Tom Kennedy's birth name was James Edward Nars. So there you go.
There we go.
All right. So to recap our bracket quickly. Yes. Peter Tamarkin, God rest his soul. And yes, Wink Martindale, outstanding. There was no tic-tac-toe in this particular bracket.
Tic-tac-duff.
Tic-tac-duff. Yeah. All right, so you see our bracket here, just recapping very quickly. And let me...
All right.
There we go. That's better. All right, so match game, the Gong Show, match game, the 1 seed came out victorious there. The $10,000 pyramid and other iterations, but this has $10,000. The 8 seed beat the 9 seed concentration. Hollywood Squares, the 4 seed beat You Bet Your Life, and the 13 seed. 5 seed was upset by the 12, which, I don't know if they put this together like that, but they always talk about the 5-12 matchups in the NCAA tournament, that's the one that's always ripe for upset.
Yeah.
That's what happened here. Press your luck. The 12 seed comes out and beats What's
No
My Line.
whammies.
Jeopardy, the 2 seed over the Yoker's Wild, which me and Brady were voting the Yoker's Wild on that, but audience outvoted us. Family Feud, the 7 seed over the 10 seed Newlywed Game. I was much more respectful of the Newlywed Game than Brady was. Newlywed Game was funny. Even as a child, it was funny to me.
It was old people talking. That's all I saw. They were visiting on set.
Visiting. So, at what point in your life do you become old enough to visit? We're just visiting.
You become old enough to visit when somebody else is inconvenienced or bored in the process. You're being held against your will. And visiting is just a euphemism. You're going to sit there and shut up while I converse.
Is that what it is?
I think
Because
so.
it seems like visiting is a two-way street. It can't be one-sided, right?
Yeah.
Right. 14 seed Wheel of Fortune, which I thought was grossly underseeded, defeats the 3 seed Password. The password is. And 6 seed, The Price is Priced, over the 11 seed To Tell the Truth. And that's where we stand. Brady, that is a genius definition for visiting. I thought that was well done too, right off the top of his head. All right.
Oh, I've experienced it. I love my mother, but whenever it's like, we're going to be visiting for a while, it'd be punctuated with a major eye roll and on my part because I knew it wasn't going to be good.
I was going to say, was there a worse thing to hear as a 7-year-old than we'll be visiting for a while?
I have Star Wars figures to play with. I have bikes to ride, wiffle ball to play, and some Looney Tunes to watch. It was killed by visiting.
See, because here's the thing. If you're visiting an old person and they don't have anything fun to do.
No.
If you're a 7-year-old. So yeah, we'll be visiting for a while. That's not good. Not good at all.
I got some games to entertain you. There's some backgammon right there in the corner. I'm kidding, guy.
Oh, that was a lupine diversion, wasn't it?
It was.
All right, so we're in the semifinals here, or the quarterfinals, I should say, of our bracket, our classic TV game show tournament bracket. As always, we invite votes from the audience. High vote wins, basically. So we have the 1 seed match game versus the 8 seed $10,000 pyramid, or whatever iteration of the pyramid you'd like to put in that particular slot. Brady, I'll let you go first here.
Match game versus the pyramid.
Yes.
I am going to say that pyramid is a much truer game because it's a skill. Somebody has to figure something out that is set on, it's there. Match game was much more open to interpretation, and there was fudge room. Sometimes you were just at the whims of the person, that was given the answer. You know what I mean?
Right.
So even though I am much more, I was very entertained in my match game, I'm going pyramid.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to qualify my thoughts on match game. And I think I probably said this on this show before a few times. The match game of the 70s, and I'm talking basically 75 through 77 ish, was just lightning in a bottle because it was personality driven. It was the banter of those celebrities or quasi celebrities on the match game could not be beaten by anything. So yes, it was not contingent on the game. And you're correct, Brady. Matter of fact, I think even Gene Rayburn said match game as a game itself is not a very good game. It's about the people.
Yeah.
So I guess as when we do these brackets, it's about how you interpret what should win in this particular case. Is it the best game or is it the best show? Really? I cannot vote against Match Game, even though I do like the pyramid a lot. My favorite part of the pyramid is the winner's circle. I think that's the best part of it.
Yeah.
But 70s Match Game, I cannot vote against. It's outstanding. And they tried to do Match Game again several different times,
Won't work.
and they couldn't. But I will say the Alec Baldwin version that was just on, which I don't think is on anymore, but recently on, came the closest to replicating the 70s Match Game. They had the same theme song, sort of,
Yeah.
the same banner between the celebrities, although they didn't have the innuendo that the 70s had. They just sometimes came out and said things, which
I mean,
I don't think that's funny, but
yeah. I mean, Alec Baldwin only had one shot to make it work. But
ha! I see what you did there.
sorry.
Too soon.
Too soon. Sorry.
So my vote is Match Game. Your vote is Pyramid.
Yeah.
Savannah votes Match Game. Tanya votes Pyramid.
Ooh.
Miss Wilson votes
Wilson.
Pyramid. Howard votes Match Game. You can't beat Fanny Flagg's Bazooms and her snappy repartee. Love that word, repartee. Jim, Match Game.
I think that got Match Game over the line.
And did you get Match Game over the line? So, unless someone else wants to vote, we do have more people in the room. If someone else would like to vote, I
Come
will.
on. You know what's better than Zebediah churning butter? It was a night at the Quilting Bee. Things you find in an Amish romance novel. Ding.
Right.
Sarah showed her ankle.
So we'll put Match Game in as the winner of that matchup. All right, next matchup in the quarterfinals. Number 4 Hollywood Squares versus number 12 Press Your Luck.
You're asking the wrong person this one because I was not a Hollywood Squares mega fan, but I loved Press Your Luck. So for me, it's Press Your Luck, hands down, no whammies.
I think Hollywood Squares, same sort of thing as Match Game as far as being very personality driven. Hollywood Squares was a better game than Match Game. Press Your Luck, I guess there is some knowledge involved because they do ask trivia questions.
Yeah.
Although probably if you were to put all game shows together and pick the easiest trivia questions you could find, I think they were on Press Your Luck.
Yeah, because your knowledge was not the entertainment factor. It was hitting the thing. It was about that.
They wanted you to get spins. That was what made the show go. So the questions had to be easy.
True or false? It's okay to pour sulfuric acid on your nostrils.
False.
And it's time to press your luck.
But you remember the first person to buzz in and get it right got 3 spins, but the other people, even if they guessed right, only got 1 spin.
Yeah.
So that was that. All right. My vote, and again, Hollywood Squares. I like Hollywood Squares, but I think I would have to go with Press Your Luck with this. Much like you, I was a big Press Your Luck fan. Now, Peter Tamarkin hosted Press Your Luck originally. He hosted a game show before that, which lasted 8 or 10 weeks, called Hitman. And I only know this because I walked home for lunch, and that's what I watched when I walked home for lunch for those 8 weeks was Hitman. Right?
Okay, Aric, was Hitman the one that had like life-size cutouts of villains?
There was like a video they played, and it was kind of, there were questions based upon the video you watched, and then like the Hitman was this little character.
Okay.
Can't remember exactly how the game was played, but
What was the one that had like the executioner in the hood, in the black hood?
oh no, that was I
As
forget.
soon as you say it, I'll know it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It was
Yeah.
a game. It was a Game Show Network game.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it
Oh
was.
no, I remember watching this as a Ute.
Oh, I have to think about that one.
Yeah, we'll have to think about that one. Okay.
Anyway, Pressure Luck. Hitman's probably was most famous for. They had a little tag in the show sometimes. If you want tickets to blah blah blah, send a self-addressed stamp envelope to. So the last episode of Hitman, the announcer was, I believe it was Johnny Olson or Jay Gilbert, one of the two, I don't know, but he said, if you'd like tickets to Press Your Luck, because they already knew it had been canceled, forget it. that was kind of humorous.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my vote is Press Your Luck.
Good deal. I think.
Hold on. I'm starting up here with Tanya, Press Your Luck. Savannah, Hollywood Squares. Miss Wilson, Press Your Luck. Howard Squares, a la Hollywood. Once again, the stars made the show.
Oh,
Charlie
man.
Weaver. Cliff Arquette was a hoot, as was Paul Lind.
I don't know.
Aye. Dennis, welcome, Dennis. Hollywood Squares. Jim
Oh.
says Hollywood Squares. As soon as you say it, I'll know it. Really, Brady?
Hey.
You probably would, Brady. Well,
you know what I mean.
All right. So it looks like Press Your Luck had 4 votes, and Hollywood Squares had what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I think it's a tie. Is that right? So do we? The host win, right? In that particular instance, the host break the tie.
I think the hosts break the tie.
Since we both voted Press Your Luck.
So we will take the benevolent dictatorship role.
And type in Press Your Luck. Here we go. All right. Moving on to the other side of the bracket, quarterfinal. Jeopardy versus Feud. Brady?
All right. I preferred the Joker's Wild over Jeopardy. But Family Feud amuses me, but it's kind of herky-jerky. There's sometimes a little bit too much talk. I want them to shut up and play the game. I don't care what they do in their spare time. You know what I mean? There's so, and I'm being overly nitpicky because they're 2 solid shows, but I'm going to go Jeopardy.
Okay.
If I want funny entertainment, but Jeopardy as a viewer pushes me because I'm not good at much, but I'm good at mindless trivia sometimes.
Right.
And it challenges me where Family Feud, I think sometimes their answers are ridiculous. Name things that you will find on the subway. Pastrami. Ding. And then something very obvious like,
a turnstile.
Yeah, won't be on there. So.
Yeah, but these 2 games couldn't be more opposite.
Oh, very opposite.
I mean, Jeopardy is all about knowing things, and Feud is all about knowing what people might say.
Yeah, the temperature of the room kind of thing.
Right. Again, you have to figure, how am I interpreting this bracket? Am I interpreting it as a good game, or am I interpreting it as a good show? I would say, even though I dearly, dearly love Jeopardy, I think the Feud is the better show. So that's kind of the way I lean. Kind of the way I lean on this.
Yeah.
So my vote's for the Feud.
Okay. I'm going to split with my esteemed host. I think I'm going to go Jeopardy on this one.
Okay. So our votes are split. Savannah says Feud. Dennis says Jeopardy. Howard says Jeopardy pulls to my cerebral side. Feud yanks my infantile sense of humor, so I abstain. So Howard, no vote. Jim says Jeopardy. Tanya says Feud. So where does that put us?
Oh man.
1, 2, 3 votes for Feud because I voted for Feud. 1, 2, 3 votes for Jeopardy.
And I voted for Jeopardy.
All right. So the host can't break this one because we voted differently.
So Howard, we're gonna have to put your testicles to the bandsaw here.
Yeah,
And
Howard, you have to break the tie here.
yeah,
Jeopardy or Feud? Got to be you, man.
no pressure.
Yeah, right. He's now he's going to leave the room. Okay, tiebreaker, Feud for production quality. So
Okay.
Feud it is.
I'm not upset about this one because it's a tough choice, and it really would depend on the intellectual. Miss Wilson, wowzers.
What did she say?
She said, "The intellectual in me votes Jeopardy. The Feud brings out the hillbilly. Jeopardy wins. Sorry, hillbilly." It's tough. It's kind of a mood thing.
Well, now wait a minute. Did that
Oh.
break the tie though? We did put Howard on the spot. If Howard didn't want to be put on the spot,
But we did put him on the spot and he cast his lot. So
that is true.
So therefore, Miss Wilson cast her lot, and we are back at a tie.
Yes. So does that mean the higher seed would win, which would be Jeopardy?
I honestly, I think, to be fair, I think Feud goes on because I think the people that John says Feud. There we go.
All right. John cast the vote. John says Feud. All right.
So that Feud it is.
All right. Okay, here we go. Last quarterfinal. Wheel of
Fortune
versus The Price is Priced.
From the Flintstones.
Flintstones, yes. Brady?
Gosh. All right. Now, I'm not intentionally trying to filibuster into a long answer, but here we go. If I only have a half an hour of downtime, definitely Wheel of Fortune. But if time is no issue, The Price is Priced is an hour-long episode.
Yes.
I prefer The Price is Right. But how much time I have helps me, decide. Also, I have watched Price is Right episodes where some of the games chosen sometimes aren't my favorites. The yodeling dude and Plinko can only be on so many times, and you're just left with which one costs more, higher or lower. So this is tough. And I think what makes me lean Wheel of Fortune is a concise beginning and end. And The Price is Right has that person that we discussed this last week that should be beaten with a bar of soap in a sack and deported for saying $1.
It's strategy.
No, it's annoying. Have some sack. Like you need to do your skills, your pricing skills.
Did you just say have some sack? Is that what you just
Well, I'm sorry, I did, didn't I? I apologize. I'm talking about the kind like the plastic ones you get at dollar store. That's what I'm referring to. So
the kind you'd put groceries in, right?
The kind you put groceries in.
That you would guess the price of.
So you need to put your skills in that sack and carry it to the game and put a numeric value down. It just doesn't get lazy. Well, I can't decide, so I'm going to say $1.
That was the worst cover I've ever heard, Brady.
It was genius. Thank you.
Uh,
Miss Wilson's cracking me up tonight.
so you say wheel.
I say wheel, but it's hard because I love both of them. So I have to nitpick and get my dander up about something because it's
Right.
hard to choose the merits. So I have to look at the demerits. Yeah, I'm going wheel.
Okay. I have been in the audience of The Price is Right twice. The Price is Right is an institution.
It is.
Wheel is somewhat of an institution as well. I will say Barker era Price is Right is the institution. I just
Correct.
never have been able to get with Drew Carey. Just can't do it.
He does good, but he's just not Bob Barker.
No, he's not Bob Barker.
Who is?
Bob had, like, for lack of a better phrase here, Drew kind of gets down in the dirt with the contestants. Bob had this air about him. He was above it, but he wasn't so far above it. He was like
Arrogant.
right.
Yeah. He was the host.
He
and
was
you knew it.
presiding. He was presiding.
Yes. You only got close to Bob if you were a Samoan lady.
Not that he wanted that.
Correct.
So with all that being said, and again, going back to how do I interpret this? Do I interpret the best game or the best show? I think The Price is Right is the perfect combination of both.
Mm-hmm.
A great game and a great show. Because anytime you put people up there that have no idea that they're going to be called, I mean, Jeopardy is like, these people have taken tests and quizzes.
They're smart. They've been the wheat has been separated from the chaff by Zebediah.
As a matter of fact, none of the games in any of this tournament pick people out of the audience that they don't know they're going to be picked. So there's that. So for that reason, I say The Price is Right.
That's some solid. And see, seriously, man, it's like I enjoy Price is Right more. Yeah, I do enjoy it more, but the consistency there is a little bit of consistency in knowing what you're going to get on Wheel of Fortune. When you tune in, you know you're going to get that game. You might not get Plinko.
Right.
So if you're built up about, there's times The Price is Right can let you down.
True.
But truth be known, I like Price is Right better.
But your vote is for the wheel.
Simply because nobody could spin the wheel and say $1.
Okay, when the wheel started putting on all these little spots on the wheel that you could take off and put in front of your name, and I don't get all that. Like there's $1 million spot on the wheel, but no one ever wins $1 million.
It's pretty incredible that do you know who I feel the worst for? Seriously, my heart aches and breaks when somebody wins this incredible trip in a car and then the very next spin they get bankrupted.
True.
It's too much angst. That's a lot to bear.
Well, and here's another thing about the wheel too. When they started giving you letters in the final game, that's no good.
Yeah, like
some of the skill went out the window when they give you R, S, T, L, N, and E. I mean, you should have to pick the letters and then you get to pick 3 more letters in a vowel.
So why did they start doing that?
Well, I don't know.
I mean, it was fine before.
There weren't enough people winning the final game. I don't know. I guess people just chose those letters anyway. So, hey, we're just going to give them to you. Choose some other letters. I don't know.
I think they should make him choose X, Q, and U.
Or
what?
If you choose, it should be like Scrabble, and they should assign point values to the letters. And if you choose some of those high point value letters, that's how much your winnings should be multiplied by. So if I'm picking a 10-point cue and I get the puzzle right, then my winnings should
There
be
should be some
multiplied by
cachet to
10.
that.
Yes, right. So yeah, then there's another lupine diversion. Anyway, Brady says wheel. I say Price is Right. So Savannah says wheel. Tawny says Price. Dennis says Wheel of Fortune over the chaos of the Price is Right.
It can't be chaotic.
Lee Wilson. Wheel, down with commercialism.
3-1.
Yes.
3-2.
Not 3-2. Now wait a minute. I voted Price. Tawny voted Price. That's 2. Howard's 3. Wheel. It's 4-3 right now.
2.
Right.
4-3.
Jim says Price is Right, and
4-4.
Mom liming. Price is Right. Tiebreaker, right?
No, I think it's 5-4. Price.
Yeah, your mom's vote was the tiebreaker. She made it 5-4, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So Price is Right for the win.
Yeah.
With Linda Liming's vote. Write that one
Spay and
in.
neuter your pets.
Because my OCD won't allow me to have the letters going outside the box. Here we go. All right. So now we are to the semifinals.
The final 4.
Final 4. On the left side of the bracket, match game, pressure luck.
I still like pressure luck better. I know I'm going to get trounced on this one, but I'm going pressure luck.
Okay. So the cartoon whammies were funnier than the quasi celebrities of the match game?
When I was 7, yes.
I thought match game was hilarious when I was 7.
I thought Charles Nelson Riley was drunk, and I didn't get it.
He was drunk. He absolutely was. They all were.
And Paul Lynde was doing the toot.
Yes.
I don't know, Templeton.
So I don't know if you knew this or not, and you mentioned drunk, so maybe you do. So Gene Rayburn lived in Massachusetts. He lived on Martha's Vineyard, I believe.
Uh-huh.
So he would go out to California to record the shows, to tape the shows, and they would tape like 6 shows a day.
Yeah.
And they would do it on a weekend. So Saturday, Sunday, 6 shows each day. So every 2 weeks he would go and tape some shows. So they would do 3 shows. They would have dinner, and then they would do 3 more shows. The 3 shows after dinner, you could always tell which ones the ones after dinner were because they were much more funny because they were all drunk. It's like common knowledge.
Really?
So, yeah. So I thought when you said that you knew that, but
no, I did not.
Yeah. So yeah, they were drunk. Seriously.
Wow.
Matter of fact, they would give them alcohol. You'd see them drinking occasionally, sitting there in the chairs. They'd be giving them alcohol. So again, made it much more funny. But anyway, you say pressure luck. I say match game. Now I would, back in the days before VCRs, I would record the audio of match game because I thought it was so funny. Seriously. Love match game. All right. So I say match game. You say pressure luck. And Brady, you're right. I think you're going to get annihilated on this. Savannah match game. Mom Liming match game. Howard match game. Brett Summers was an old biddy. She would throw zingers at everybody. Loved it. Zingers. Is that what they call them? Miss Wilson match game. What was in Charles Nelson Riley's pipe is the real question. True.
He hid it in his ascot. His kerchief.
Jim, kerchief, yes. His ascot. Now he wore a kerchief. Jim with the match game. So I believe match game.
Is running away with it.
Running away. So we'll throw in the 1 seed here in the finals. Match game. All right. So here we go. The 7 seed feud versus the 6th seed, Price is Right. And we got to get Dennis's vote in there. He votes Match Game as well. This is rough.
This is tough. I think I'm flummoxed. Gosh, it would come down to the mood I was in when I was channel flipping. There was also on snow days, or if you were homesick, was the only time that you really got to see Price is Right.
True.
Because during the summer, we really weren't inside.
Right.
We would watch it occasionally, but still. So the Price is Right was kind of like, I don't want to say the forbidden fruit, but you didn't get it too often. But the Fiat was on nightly to consume.
Right.
So
And they had nighttime Prices Right every once in a while. Like they would do a syndicated Prices Right. Never took off. Never.
yeah,
never
I wonder
understood.
why.
Don't know. I think because Barker wasn't the host.
Oh yeah, that's right. Who was?
Well, they did it with Dennis James. He was the host once, and then I think maybe was it John Davidson that hosted a nighttime Prices Right at one point. Maybe it wasn't Barker.
Yeah. I think I think I'm leaning Feud.
Okay. I've already given my thoughts on both. Price is Right.
It's
Is
tough
my
for
vote.
me though.
Yeah, but again, I get back to the Price is Right, an institution. Although,
Yeah,
really, I
I've
mean,
changed my vote. As I think about it, I'm thinking about the things that annoy me about Family Feud. Annoy me way worse than, except the $1 thing. But I'm not gonna count that. I think I go Price is Right. I've changed my mind.
okay. But I mean, Feud's been on a lot of years too. I'd say Feud's been on. I mean, not as many years as Price is Right, but pretty close.
Close.
But Price is Right is my vote. So, looking at our audience, both of the Browns say Feud. Dennis says Feud. Miss Wilson says Feud. Tanya says Feud. Jim says Feud. I think
Dang.
both of us are going to get hammered, Brady. Howard says Feud gives more chances for blatant stupidity. Back to Jim. The price is wrong, Bob.
I don't think the word was Bob.
Yeah, it was Bob. It was
No.
Bob. It was Bob Barker in the movie that
Well,
he's referring to.
I'm thinking about Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, it was Bob Barker.
I thought he said the price is wrong. Female dog.
Yeah, he may have actually.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it, but he was talking to Bob Barker.
Yes, he was talking to, because he went, the price is wrong, female dog, and punched him. Because I couldn't believe they actually got him to say it.
Yeah, true. So Mom Liming says Price is Right.
Yeah.
But you and I were soundly thrashed. It's the
Trounced.
feud. The feud. All right, so a lot of good backstories here in this particular matchup here. Well, almost putting that in.
Yeah. Yeah, Dad did get to watch in Price is Right.
Oh, was your dad a fan?
Yeah. After retirement, he would watch some Price is Right.
Yeah.
Because he'd asked me multiple times to think you could sink that putt. Could sink the putt for the car? I don't know.
Bob always sunk the putt.
It was rigged.
Rigged.
Yeah, there was a small child or a little person underneath that green astroturf with a magnet, and they would crawl. They would guide it with the magnet right to the cup. It's a well-known fact.
Bob was a good golfer.
He was. He was. I'm kidding.
Not as good as Happy Gilmore, but
Yeah. Okay, so you're going to be the person to know. Did Bob ever miss a putt?
yeah,
Okay.
occasionally. All right. So here's the backstory of this particular matchup here.
Oh,
Match game. Richard Dawson was on the match game originally. He went on to become the host of the feud. Family Feud was created based upon the super match of Match Game. That's what the whole game is based on. So you remember in the super match, the contestant would get up and they would have 3 answers and they got money for the highest answer or the one the most people said from the audience. So that's where they got the idea for Family Feud, and that's what they created that game from. And Richard Dawson was the host. So essentially, you could say Family Feud is a spinoff or sequel or whatever you want to call it of the match game. So, Brady, what do you think?
feud.
Feud.
I'm going to go feud, definitely.
All right. So we're back again to what is the best game or what is the best show? I guess you could say they're equally good games because one game came from the other.
Yeah.
Show wise, thought Match Game was much funnier than the feud.
True.
However, I guess I have to qualify this with there were so many bad renditions of the Match Game after the classic Match Game.
Yeah.
It kind of sullied it a little bit.
Tarnished its luster.
Yeah. To the point of I didn't think you could replicate it. Although, like I said, Alec Baldwin came close. I don't think he fully replicated it. Feud has had quite the staying power. And Steve Harvey has revived it quite a bit.
I know it might be sacrilege, but Steve Harvey might have a leg up on Richard Dawson.
Yeah. And it's funny because Steve Harvey, what I don't like as much about Drew Carey than Bob Barker, it's like the opposite with Richard Dawson and Steve Harvey. Like Steve Harvey's funny because he gets down in the muck with the contestants.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't like that about Drew Carey on The Price is Right.
When Richard Dawson was literally trying to get down and dirty in tonsil box the female contestants.
But you ought to look up his final, like his last little speech he gave on the last episode he hosted of the feud.
Yeah.
About how people would send in letters that were kind of nasty and hateful because he was kissing contestants and he just really cared about people, and it was kind of neat. Although I hear Richard Dawson, it's says he was quite a nasty person to work with, but
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
because I've heard the same thing. They said that, and I don't want to besmirch that, but they said you would not find a meaner spirited human being than Paul Land.
Yeah.
Said that he was not a nice person at all.
Had some mental issues, I believe.
Yeah.
So match game or feud, I guess just by this much. And I said earlier in the bracket, I can't vote against the match game until now.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're looking at institution wise, you got to go with the feud, I think.
I think so.
All right. So we got feud from the Browns. So that's 2 votes. Feud with Dawson. So Tanya qualifies her vote. Match game from Jim.
3-1.
Miss Wilson says feud.
4-1.
Dennis says match game.
4-2.
4-2. I believe feud. The 7 seed, the son beats the father.
Yes.
Match game for the win.
What? No. Family Feud for the win.
Check Family Feud. Sorry.
Yeah. Fiat for the win. But this, like I said, these were not easy choices.
Yeah.
And when we complete one of these tournaments, we also have to talk about the ones on the bubble that didn't make it.
Right.
You mentioned Tic Tac Duff.
Yes.
I think Card Yarks.
Correct.
Card Shark should have been on there.
Yep.
It was an excellent one.
Agreed.
And then you could many people would probably throw some modern ones like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yeah.
Oh, good gosh. What's the one with Howie Mandel and the briefcases?
Oh, that's terrible. Name flew right out of my ear.
I know, right, man?
Oh. Deal or no deal?
Deal or no deal. There we go. There we go. And now I know this is not trendy or anything, but do you know what was a pretty darn good it was that Ellen DeGeneres game show where they would be doing wacky.
Oh yeah. That was funny.
That was good.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Yeah. It was quite good. What was the name of it?
I don't know. I would like watch it whenever I happened upon it, but it wasn't like appointment TV for me. I didn't record it or anything,
but it was entertaining. It was good. It was well done. It was
Ellen's Game of Games or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and you mentioned other ones. Good Lord, I wish I could remember what that one I was talking about earlier, because there was like a bandit and a hooded executioner and all these miscreants, like a Billy the Kid, and they were villains, and you had to go through the whole gauntlet of villains, like you had to like progress through.
Yeah.
It'll come to us later, but like, you know, I remember liking that one as a youth. You are the weakest link. I forgot about the weakest link.
Oh yeah, the weakest link. Trying to do a search and you're describing that show,
and you know exactly what I mean.
I do.
And then like the big cutout characters, if you defeated them, they would like fold in half.
Yeah.
Like fall down.
Right. Yeah.
But no, I think Tic Tac Toe and Card Sharks, either one, you could have made this a how many 12? They would have been equally at home in this bracket of classics.
Yeah. Agreed.
So
let me see. I'm trying to I'm trying to do a search on it, and that aggravates me because I'm going to think of it.
Yeah, well, we might have to check back in with that one.
Yeah, maybe we'll report back next week as to what that is.
And speaking of next week,
yes, we have an announcement. Go ahead.
And then there were 3 again. So next week, our very own Todd Griffin is back on the air.
Yep. Our 3-headed logo will have 3 heads once again.
Even though it never lost its head.
True.
So the 3-head, the triumvirate of tomfoolery, the trident of chicanery.
So be sure you tune back in next Wednesday, and you'll hear that with Mr. Griffin back with us.
The trinity of hilarity.
Right? Yeah, the 3 amigos, Howard. That's right. So yeah, tuned in next Wednesday, 7:00. Yeah, right. With the pelvic thrust. Okay.
Always with the pelvic thrust.
Yeah. Anything else for the good of the order, Brady?
I do not believe so. Just thank you all once again. Check us out. I apologize for my dragging my feet on posters. We will be caught up. Eric pointed out my error, and I had a numerical mishap, and there had been a little bit of action around my home, some sick children and such. So I'm going to get back on that horse and get those up there.
All right. Audio version of this podcast will drop at 3 a.m. on Friday. So find it on 3 a.m., but I must be lonely. Anchor.fm, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and the iHeartRadio app. Most anywhere you can find an audio podcast, you'll probably find us. Video-wise, there is the aforementioned Spotify, which now has video podcasts, which we put up with all of our episodes back to 90-something. We've done on video on Spotify. YouTube, search our YouTube channel, Play It By Your Podcast, as well as our Twitch channel, Play It By Your Podcast. Social media, we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagrams. Okay, so I just got a text, Brady.
Yes.
Tom Kennedy. That's what Dennis West.
That's
what Dennis West says the game is.
That's it.
All right. So now I'm all. I gotta find a picture now. Gotta find a picture.
And the picture I was painting is going to be accurate.
The Gauntlet of Villains.
That's it.
The villains in the Gauntlet were, from start to finish, Alphonse the Gangster, Bruno the Headsman, Mr. Van Louse, the Landlord, Nero the Fiddler, Count Nibbleneck the Vampire, Frank and his little friend Stein, Kid Rotten the Gunslinger, Jeremy Swash the Pirate, Dr. Deranged the Mad Scientist, and Lucretia the Witch. Contestant won $100 for each villain passed, or $25,000 for completing the gauntlet. How about that? Thank you, Dennis West.
Here, I have the. Here's one of the.
Oh, there you go.
Yep. And now we're gonna have to look up some old episodes of it to watch it, because, like, I'm gonna have to check it out. Thank God that somebody came up with that. Like, Dennis, and how did you guys pull that out? Like, did you remember it, or did you Google machine it?
I don't know. Now I've got to share my screen here. So I'll show you the
Gauntlet of Villains.
Yeah.
Pull it up. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, baby. That's it.
Uh-huh.
I remember the Hooded Executioner the most.
Yeah.
But I don't see him on there.
I don't think I ever watched this one.
Gotta be honest, this looks like a little bit more modern iteration. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, could be. I don't know. Like I said, I don't think I ever watched that one. Tom Kennedy, which we talked about earlier. Tom Kennedy, not his real name, his stage name.
Yeah.
James Nars.
Nars.
Brother of Jack is his real name.
Is that on Run DMC? James and Nars, brother of Jack. Like we don't know rap.
Yeah, right. Interact with us via email, admin@playbyyourpodcast.com. Leave a voice message. You can click a link at your podcast provider audio side. If you have the iHeartRadio app, you can click the microphone, the talkback feature. You can leave us a voice message. Talkback. Thank you, Dennis, for that. All right. Anything else?
All good.
All righty. Well, then take us out.
We will see you next week. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Play It By Ear podcast. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter at Play It By Ear Pod 2, and our website at anchor.fm/Play It By Ear podcast. Thanks again, and join us next time as we play it by ear.